Now I am going to present overview of the project planning. Project planning is the heart of the project life cycle. When the project plans are documented, the project deliverables and the requirements are defined, and the project schedule is created. Creating a set of plans to help guide your team through the implementation and closer phases of the project. It helps you control the staff and external suppliers to ensure that you deliver the project on time, within budget, and within schedule. The project planning phase is the most challenging phase of the project manager. Then, next one is the project objectives. The objectives are specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, time based. Then, some of the steps involved in project planning: select project, identify project scope and objectives, identify project infrastructure, project products and characteristics, estimate effort, identify activity risk, allocate resources, review, and finally execute. Then first step is select the project. Select project is the initial one. Okay, the process must decide to initiate the project. Then the next one is identify project scope and objectives. It identifies the objectives and practical measures of the effectiveness in meeting those objectives. That establish a project authority. Stakeholder analysis. Identify all stakeholders in the project and their interests. Modify objectives in the light of stakeholder analysis. Establish methods of communication with all parties. The next one is identify project infrastructure. Identify relationship between project and the strategy planning. The next one is identify installation standards and procedures. Identify project team organization. These are all the infrastructures for projects. The next one is project products and characteristics. It identify and describe project products, then recognize the product instances, then it produce ideal activity network, then modify the ideal to take into account need for stages and checkpoints. Then the next one is estimate effort. It carried out bottom-up estimates. It revised plan to create controllable activities. Then the difference between the elapsed time and the effort should be noted. Effort is the amount of work that needs to be done. It is a task requires 3 members of staff to work for 2 full days each. The effort expended is 6 days. Elapsed time is the time between the start and the end of the task. Identify activity risks. Identify and quantify activity-based risk. Risk inherent in the overall nature of the project have already been considered in. Now we want to look at each activity in turn and assess the risk to its successful outcome. Any plan is always based on certain assumptions. Say the design of the component is planned to take 5 days. This is based on the assumption that the client's requirement is clear and unambiguous. If it is not, then additional effort to clarify, then the requirement would be needed. Man risk reduction and contingency measures were ever appropriate. Allocate resources. It identifies the allocate resources. The type of staff needed for each activity is recorded. The staff available for project is identified and is provisionally allocated to tasks. Revise plans and estimate to take into account resource constraints. Some staff may be needed for more than one task at the same time, and then this cause an order of priority is established. The decision made here may have an effect on the overall duration of the project. When some tasks are delayed while waiting for staff or become free.